Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 669. I am your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Sellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. Matt, thanks for joining me this week. It's great to have you here to talk Trauma Center Under the Knife for the Nintendo DS. A DS classic, really. An Atlas classic. And we're going to dive into it later on and rank it on the list later on. But first, Matt, I want to know, surgery is a topic covered here in Trauma Center. What topic, what task, what occupation, subject matter, whatever you want to fill in the blank with, what has not been turned into a video game yet, a popular video game? Because I'm sure if you dig through itch, you can find anything. But what
I
are we
mean,
missing out on?
there's a lot out there. I don't know. I don't know.
What do you want to see turned into a video game?
I
Which occupation?
honestly don't know. I don't think that esports manager ever came out.
Did that get canned?
I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what Riot's cooking, but that was a thing a few years ago.
Yeah, that would be cool. Any
So,
management sim like that tackles a different market could be a good time.
yeah, that's like the first thing I thought of that didn't come out. So, what's your answer?
I don't know. I feel like something like a trade that is very intricate, like watchmaking or like leather making,
Okay. All right.
something like that. Do one of those. I think that could be a neat video game and explore something tactile like that. Um, I don't know what else you would. Yeah, I think that'd be fun though. See all the tools of the trade, something very specific, very unique would be fun. Much like performing surgery, uh, as in the Nintendo DS. Trauma Center Under the Knife, developed by Atlas, published by Atlas and Atlas USA here in America. Released on the Nintendo DS in North America, October 4th, 2005? I wrote 6 here for some reason. That can't be right.
EU was 2006.
Yeah, we were 2005. 2005.
Hmm.
Okay. Back of the box. Heart surgery and tumor removal might look easy from the morphine end, but how do you think the doctor feels? Well, you're about to find out. In Trauma Center Under the Knife, the patient's lives are in your hands. The Nintendo DS puts you above the operating table with 10 different instruments at your surgical disposal. As Dr. Derek Stiles, you'll experience all the drama we've come to expect from the medical field. So go ahead, toss on some scrubs, and step into the OR. It's time to play doctor. That's good copy. Congratulations to whoever wrote that. That's good copy. Yeah, back of the box sets it up. You play as Derek Stiles, a young surgeon joining the field, and you use the stylus for the Nintendo DS to perform surgery, extract things, laser things, stitch things, all through a very, very engaging, wild, twisting, turning story that develops. Before we dive into the game, we'll break down what we talk about. We'll set up the game a little bit, talk a little bit about what our expectations were going into it. We'll talk through gameplay. We will talk through the visuals of the game, the sound, and then we'll share our final reviewers' thoughts before ranking it on the list, which you can find over at thefreecheese.com/the list. When did you first learn about Trauma Center? Do you remember?
It had to have been during like the height of the DS stuff. Yeah, whenever. I guess probably around the time it came out or so.
Yeah, I don't know if I knew about the DS one before the Wii one. I remember the Wii one because when the Wii launched, I remember like obsessing over that launch lineup and seeing Second Opinion, I believe is what it was called. And that one's essentially a remake of this one, but with Wii controls, which almost became the one that I chose for the list. But I felt like doing the original and doing DS made more sense. Um, is your first time playing Trauma Center or any of the games in the series?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Maybe played one?
I feel like I played something similar to this, but I don't know. I don't know where I would have played it. I have no because I don't really own these games. I never had the one on Wii. I never have a DS until recently. Well, not well
Maybe a
recently,
college?
but I meant
Yeah, yeah,
like yeah. No, I
yeah.
really no. No, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'd never played it either. Well, I had started this at some point, like just playing around with it. And I think like as I'd started playing it after buying it, I was like, we should do this for the podcast. Um, and I kind of held off on continuing, and then here we are. Um, so I was the one who selected this for season 14, and I think this year, my like thesis statement was the PlayStation. And looking back at where the PlayStation had a lot of, it gave developers, I think, a chance to explore new gameplay styles, new ideas in 3D, but also like with the advent of CD media, giving them a lot more room to get weird and experimental. And when I started to like stretch outside of those ideas and like how does that bleed into other platforms, the DS is also, I think the DS was maybe the next time we got that after PS1, and because it's a completely different input to displays, like that changed a lot of what developers are able to do. And I think we started to see some inventive ways to utilize the hardware. um I think you couple that with the fact that yeah, I'd not played Trauma Center but always was intrigued by it. um it made sense to add this, and it fit in with my schedule, the gaming schedule that I'd aligned. I did not know that you would be adding two other Atlas games to the list this year. For the listeners, Matt and I make our selections for the list independently and then present them to one another in a glorious ceremony, annual ceremony. But I didn't know you were adding Mach X and Catherine when I added this. So I'm curious to see. I think this is the last Atlas game we have this year. I don't remember if there's another one. I don't think there's another one. But I'm curious to see how this one shakes out comparatively. Because Catherine's, well, I guess all three of these have ended up being quite a departure from what we're used to from Atlas. Catherine, Mach X, and now this. Just different experience than the traditional SMT or Persona stuff or any of that. So, um, yeah, what did you know about Trauma Center or expect of it before playing?
I mean, I knew it's like a operating simulator, if you want to call it that. I knew that was the thing. My expectation though was more. I didn't realize how story heavy this was going to be. Not to say I thought this was going to be. There was going to be no thread to get you along, but it's very. I don't know. Like it reminds me more of like an Ace Attorney than a Cooking Mama. Because like Cooking Mama,
Mm,
he was like, pick the recipe, do this. I not that I thought you were gonna like pick the procedure, then do this, and then you unlock the next one. I thought there might be more of a thread, but it is very heavy. I mean, like it's almost like the visual novel part of it, with
yeah, there's a lot of that.
operations in the middle. Even like, not that any of these things are well, the operations themselves are one thing, but like the cutscenes, not that any of them are terribly long, but like they the game lets you like save between some of what they will quote their longer cutscenes, which are only a couple minutes, and they actually consider them like a
Chapters or like
yeah, like a
a
part of
section of a
a
chapter.
subchapter or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you do Operation 3-1, 3-2 is a cutscene, 3-3 you start with a cutscene, then a procedure. It's really weird how some of that's put together.
Yeah,
Um,
that caught me off guard how heavy it was. The story itself too caught me off guard with kind of where it goes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, yeah, let's jump into gameplay. So you have, as mentioned, 10 surgical tools at your disposal. The game stair steps their usage initially, right? Like you, I think initially, I can't remember now. I feel like the first mission is removing glass from somebody. So you've got like the forceps to carefully remove glass from somebody's arm.
Something like that.
But you learn how to use the scalpel. You learn how to use different things, stitching to heal them up. Um, and we'll talk about how those tools kind of transform use cases over time. I'll read through what they are just so we can, yeah, I don't know. We have a good baseline. So you've got the laser, which incinerates tumors and viruses, antibiotic gel, a medication used for disinfection and also healing small wounds. You have the drain, a long tube for removing fluid from the area of operation, primarily used for blood. Your forceps to extract harmful materials and pick up delicate objects. Hand. So if you need to take a hands-on approach, you can just massage a heart with this or apply gel to a membrane. Um, you have a scanner, a little magnifying glass, which you can use to find concealed tumors or other objects. Um, that also acts as like an ultrasound in a way, is how they refer to it in the game. Your scalpel lets you make incisions. Stitches let you suture incisions. A syringe ends up getting a couple different use cases, but primarily what you'll spend your most time tapping a syringe for is I forget what it's called, but it's basically like a
Like heartbeat, heart rate.
yeah, you're increasing the heart, but what's the stuff you can like an adrenaline
Oh
juice?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I would think.
Yeah, you're doing that to keep the heart rate up of the patient. And then finally, bandages at the very end of an operation, applying bandages to seal everything up. Um, the manual here has medical school in 5 pages, and they proceed to walk you through using each of the different tools and how they're used throughout the game. They don't really go into the guilt in here, but they also give you some important medical terms, vitals, briefing. That's an important medical term. QOLMRIPET, inflammation, suture, drainage, strain, etc. Anyway, um, any tools stand out to you as like particularly intuitive or particularly bad?
I mean the the suture tool. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just kind of zigzag what you gotta.
Are you good at it though?
No,
Because I feel like
no. I was
depending
just
on the wound,
I
yeah,
yeah. No, I would just
I would try to be like
zigzag.
very precise, and
Nah, I started
it would be like
zigzagging left
bad.
and right.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean that was pretty straightforward. Like once you realized what the syringe does most of the time, that is like a good thing to have in the back of your head to do when you think you're about to hit like a checkpoint, because you never know
yeah,
what the fuck's gonna happen next.
yeah.
Um, yeah, like I said, I don't think anything was like not intuitive. There was some stuff with like the zoom in and out that I didn't like. Um, I felt like sometimes it wouldn't like go where I wanted it to go, or like some of the borders of the screen like you couldn't like touch, and it wasn't like
Yeah.
registering my you know markings or whatever you want to call it 100% accurate. So that was like a pain point. Um, but yeah, I think like the toughest thing with all the tools, once you know how to use them, you know how to use them. I think that the tough part is like remembering, because the game will hold your hand for like the first three operations, maybe four, and then it will stop,
Yes.
and that's
And
it.
it's really tough. I had started this game not long after we revealed the lists. I was like, well, I've got it. I'm gonna jump into it, and just like I had the itch for it. And then I took a beat, didn't come back to it for a while. And when I went to go pick up where I was, I'm like failing this one mission over and over again because I just completely forgot all the inputs, like which thing does which. Um, it makes it really, really tough
I mean, I had
to
the
kind
same
of keep a
thing, and it was
beat.
only like a week and a half for me, and I forgot how to do simple
Yeah,
things.
just little tiny like wait, which one does what? The the one that I do think wasn't great was the I already forgot the name of it, but the suction,
Oh yeah, where you
um,
were trying to get out like
the
the
drain.
yeah, you're
Yeah,
trying to get
it
out
it just
blood.
felt like I wasn't doing it right, and maybe maybe I should have used the position it above blood pools or other affected area and trace the stylus upward in order to drain the fluid. If there's a lot of fluid, you may need to drain more than once. Simply remove the stylus and try again. Which I was doing, but I just felt like that one was never like so many of the other actions are pretty immediate, and that one felt like I really had to like draw up to make the
Mm-hmm.
suction work to extract whatever I was and drain whatever I was. Um, I think that got a little tough. In the heat of the moment where you're like fighting for your life to try, well, in somebody else's life, to try and like heal them, save them, close this wound. Like, oh gosh, I got to drain this blood and this blood and this blood. Now I got to heal that. A lot of that. And I guess that like frantic nature of the game is really what has come to define it for me in the end. Was a lot of just like you've just got this mess of puzzles on the screen
Yeah.
that each of those generally have one solution, right? Like whatever the thing is on the screen, you've got a tool at your disposal to fix it. But by the end of this game, you end up with on a single patient, you know, things that require like immediate attention. There's things under the skin that are moving and changing and causing new tears or rips or bleeding or whatever sort of damage. Um, and you kind of have to like always be moving and figure out what is the most worst one of these that I need to address right now to not kill this patient. Um, which of these things can I kind of do to buy some time and then get the adrenaline shot to pump back into them to get their heart rate up, and then okay, I can remove this and put this skin together and stitch it up and save them. So it gets really really intense. Um, we talked before about how the tools can kind of have one purpose to begin with, and over time that changes. Like, what examples of that do you remember stand out from your playtime?
Well, like I know the syringe the same action, but like there will be times where there are multiple types of like vials you're pulling from, and you have to kind of know what you're doing with the right one. I want to say like the like the I'm gonna call it sonar. What the fuck's it called? The
Ultrasound?
ultrasound. Thank you. Like
Yeah.
ultrasound again, same kind of thing. You're just like kind of pulsing, but there's different things where that comes into play as well. Um, yeah, I mean, like again, it's just I don't know. There are some things where it gets multi-use, and I'm just having trouble thinking of them. But like the purposes and the order of things becomes different
Yeah.
depending on what you're doing. You kind of have to remember that.
Yeah, and you really don't know until you go through and fail, um, that you had to change your approach or whatever. Yeah, the one that comes to mind for me is the serums. Like that one changes. Um, You'll get different things that you have to do, like the laser. Um, you're generally doing the same action as the player,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just like doing it for longer depending on what you're zapping with it. But with the laser, with the scalpel, I don't think there's anything else. Maybe there is. But those are two main ones where you need to use them to, defeat whatever you're up against or save the patient or whatever. But you can also harm the patient and cause bleeding and cause their heart rate to drop. Like again, the menu, if you've not seen the game, in the bottom on the bottom screen is where you're performing the surgery. That's where you're affecting everything. The story's playing out on the top screen. Usually, like while you're on the patient on the bottom screen, some characters cutting in from the top screen to tell you like, "Hey, they're gonna die." And you're like, "Yeah, I know. Thank you for letting me know." And then they're, "Oh gosh, what's that? Doctor, 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 doctor." And your top left of the bottom screen is a little health meter, I
Yeah.
guess, for the patient. It's their vitals, and it's just constantly ticking down. Um, for the most part, patients will have a 0 to 99. When it hits 0, they're dead. 99 is the top it can max, and you can always refill that with that green adrenaline juice. But depending on what's inside of them, or if they're older or they have some other condition, they usually set that stuff up with the story. Their max vitals might not go above a 49 or something like that. You might be cut kind of in half.
So, or like, yeah, you're trying to refill, but like what's happening is just getting worse, and like at some point, it's a mute. You trying to increase their vitals just doesn't even work, or you're like
Yeah, they're
the
losing
the
too
time
much.
it takes to do it, you're just losing more and more, and it's just getting worse and worse, and it's kind of you kind of just shoot yourself in the foot a little bit trying to play that game.
And it's finite too, right? Like you have that adrenaline meter or whatever to pump them in, but all of your tools have finite uses. So if you're spamming that over and over again, it'll red out and you're like stuck until that meter recharges. So nothing's ever, yeah, you really got to like address what the real problem is. And deducing that, I think, moment to moment can be tough, especially when sometimes like the problem is like there's just blood coming from everywhere and I've got to suction up this pool and this pool and this pool and figure out what's beneath it. And then as you figure it out and you go to fix that, one of the ones you drained is already filling back up and making a mess of the screen. Um, there's another major deviation in surgery at 1.2 where these tools are still used in the same manner, but the patient is very different. And I'm, of course, referring to the bomb level, where instead of operating on a human, you operate on a bomb, which I was not expecting. But that one was kind of a neat thing to shift up the gameplay.
Well, you also have the nano machines.
Which, like
Those
the
are like the
guilt?
no, when you have to make the nano machines to combat the guilt. When you put those puzzle pieces together.
Oh, that, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The right, yeah. Those are cool though. I did not.
No, I mean that I like that puzzle aspect, but there is another operation.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. That one, you're mostly just that's just forceps for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but I guess to that point, we're kind of referring to a couple different plot moments. What is the general plot of Trauma Center Under the Knife?
You all right? Derek Styles, right? Is the
Yes. Uh, please educate us, lore expert Matt Selner.
Oh, I mean I'm not
No,
Mr. Lore expert in
I'm
Trauma Center, but I do know the synopsis here.
I'm for it. I'm yeah.
So you are a young up and coming surgeon who is getting the lay of the land as a surgeon. He's very hesitant to start working on people. He's not very good at it. And then one crazy operation happens. Something, the old Ace Combat mission update happens.
Yeah.
And you find you have
Doctor.
is it the doctor's
The
hair?
healing
The
touch.
healing touch. That's it. You find out you have this thing called the healing touch, where you essentially either have Spidey sense, you work like the Flash, and you're supersonic all at the same time. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, anyway, like time slows down. Like your reflexes really kick in, and like time slows down pretty much for you on screen, and it lets you navigate these crazy scenarios where like it would be impossible to do it in real time. So
Hmm.
that is what is you discover that. You find out that the training surgeon at the hospital you are attending is he has that as well, but is retired because they screwed up procedure or something with it, and is scared to use it again. Anyway, you are the special doctor with this healing touch ability, and it's almost like a superstition, like people know it exists, but it's like this like mystical unicorn if you have it, the ability or whatever. So that's like the Derek kind of subplot. The plot of the game, though, kind of introduces itself either late first chapter or middle second chapter. I forget where it does, but it's
Yeah.
essentially you come across this thing called guilt. You don't know what it is at first, but it's essentially like bugs moving around inside your skin and creating lacerations internally.
Yeah.
Um,
And like Xbox, guilt is in all caps, just to,
yeah, like
yeah.
Xbox, yeah. So yeah, so that's going on. Or so you discover that, and then you essentially are shipped out to Caduceus. That is how it's pronounced.
Oh, I wrote this down because I love the way it was,
Essentially, it's the CDC.
yeah,
um,
Caduceus.
Caduceus. Yeah, so you're sent to Caduceus, which is a CDC that is that looks for and tries to cure these crazy diseases, and this guilt is one of them. And you kind of come to find out that guilt is like a human made virus, and that there's a terrorist organization behind it, and there are multiple strains of it. And pretty much from the point of you find out what guilt is, you're operating on guilt patients with different strains.
For the rest, yes. And it's just basically like, well, you're a guilt doctor now, and you're, yeah. Um, let's run through the different guilt types because they're all different, and that's really where like the game starts to get difficult, I think, because the guilt are often moving. You don't have many other things in patients that are moving, but the guilt is where it becomes difficult. So there's, I should have pulled up a thing to get a list of the different names of them. Uh, the only one I remember the name of is the Paraskivi, which is Greek for Friday. I remember the Friday one. They're a weird looking worm.
Okay.
Um, that one it's like the second to last one you interact with. That one you're basically presented with a big long worm, and you hit it with the laser to freeze it, and then you cut it in half, and it splits, and you freeze both of those, and you cut one in half, and it splits, and you freeze both of those, and you cut it. You have to basically do that. I think it's either 8 times or 16 times. I don't remember what it is. To the point where you can then freeze them and then forcep each individual tiny little baby thing out of there. The problem is they start in the stomach and they slowly make their way up through each organ. You have basically 4 stages through the body until they get right below the heart. And if they go into the heart, they kill the patient within like 5 real world seconds. So you got to time it out right and healing touch your way to freeze time and take care of them early
I
on.
think this is all of them. I see the it's like the Kiriaki,
Yes, those are the little.
little mosquito
I don't know.
boys.
They're the ones you see they're the first one you
Yeah.
see, and you see them for the uh, most frequently, I think. Um, those are the ones. How did you react to finding them the first time? Because I had no idea that guilt were a thing. None of
No,
this
no,
was
not.
coming, and the game sets it up really well. Where you're like, all right, going into surgery, got another patient. Here we go. and they're like, oh, something weird's going on. It's like getting cut. This patient's being cut from the inside. Use your ultrasound to see what's going on, and you just see this. Previously, you're using the ultrasound to find tumors in patients, and they show up as like a little black nodule, just a little like shadow mark, and you're like, okay, got it. There's the thing. Now I can extract it. You do it this time, and it's shaped like a weird demon fish, and it's moving and swimming through the patient's body. Terrifying. Um,
No, yeah, no. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
yeah, very much just like, oh, okay, this game's going somewhere now.
I was
Those
gonna.
you,
Sorry,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I like going into this game. I thought this was just gonna be like a good season of like ER, Grey's Anatomy, or
Yes,
any one of those where it's like, oh man, there's no way they can top the it's like the pit, yours truly, your
yeah,
favorite show.
exactly. Yes.
It just goes from one operation to the next. Oh, it's the pit. Uh,
Welcome to
yeah,
the pit.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's right. That's what that was your tagline. Welcome to the pit. No, I just thought it was gonna be
Well,
one of
that's their
those
tagline.
where it it just kind of keeps escalating in like ridiculous ways, but like sure, bring it on.
Sure.
It's a drama or whatever. But no, I did not
Yeah.
expect it to be all about this.
No, not one bit.
Anyway, let me name the rest of them off. I got
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're all from this game. I'm looking at a guilt category and I didn't want to dig any further. Defterra, Triti, Tetarti, Pempti, Paraskevi, Savado, and then Bliss.
Oof. They
Most of
sound
them
right. Do
sound
you have
familiar.
descriptions?
I have to click on each one.
Sorry.
They're fine.
The Triti are the Triforce looking ones. Where basically they don't move, but they are these. It's a series of triangles that make up a shape that are all pinned down by thorns. So you have to remove the thorns in a specific order, lest they grow back. And then once you remove the thorns, you can use the forceps to peel away these triangles again before they roll back. The trick there is to kind of like just use healing touch right at the beginning, pull all the thorns out, pull all the triangles away, all before your healing touch runs out, and you're back in normal time. Um, there's another way to do it, but that seemed to work for me every time. Um,
Defterra is the one with the little tumor looking thing that's like moving around and creating little mini tubers. But that's the easy one. The
yeah,
different color ones, you have to wait for them to combine and then burn it as they are combined in that time window, and then they
yeah.
repeal or repel off each other, and then you have to kind of wait again for it. You Triti Tatardi.
What are the names of the ones that are the little like squid things that you have to zap? You have to inject with colored. Uh, there's a purple, a green, and a yellow. I
I'm
forget that
looking.
one.
I'm looking. I see your Paris scabby worm looking thing. Da-da-da.
Those are the Tatardi. Tatardi are the ones that you inject with the purple stuff and the yellow stuff. They're like a little
Oh
like
yeah. Okay, yep.
squid
Yep.
thing
Yeah.
that
Sorry.
crawls
Yep.
around. Um, yeah,
Uh,
those get tricky because basically they'll reveal their color to you, and then they all go clear, and they start wiggling around. So it's one of those like kind of memory games where you look at it and you're like, purple, green, yellow, and you've got to grab your injection, inject the purple one, inject the yellow one, each with their respective colors. But sometimes they'll cross over one another, or they'll like walk on one another, and that's all just RNG that just screws you up. So, and every time you put the wrong injection in, it's a miss, but you only have a finite amount of misses per operation. But it also resets them back to they'll recess into the body and start the phase over again, which again, you're just race against the clock at that point. Um, the last one is the spider looking
the
thing. I don't remember its
Savado.
name.
That's the Savado.
Yeah. That one is gnarly where like spiders just come crawling out of an open wound, and you've got to zap them. And if I think it's more than 5 are on screen at a time, they will collect and become a little blue spider. And that blue spider goes around for a while until it gets bored and decides to just blow up into not only causing damage to the patient, but also into a bunch of tiny spiders again. That can get overwhelming quickly. I don't remember any of the other. Is that?
Bliss was it's a last chapter thing. It's not really an operation.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, they're all just little terrible demon things you got to fight inside of people, and that's where the game gets really, really tricky. And it becomes very uh,
Yeah, you're
demanding.
just Dale Gribble. That's all this game is.
Yeah.
Maybe all right. Well, maybe do we have a maybe to answer your thing from before? Do we have
King of the Hill.
well, not King of the Hill, but Pest Control? Is that a game yet?
Mm,
Because this might double dip as it.
yeah. You Donkey Kong 3 is a pest control game. You play as Stanley the Bugman. The whole game is just about using your little bug thing.
Fair enough.
And then there's EDF. Technically, it's on
Oh,
a
our
large
defense
scale.
force. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Those are kind of bug control. But no, I don't think like in a traditional pest management that'd be a game. I would play that.
There's a
Although
game
you're
there
right,
where
this
you
is
can cross, like, you can pretty much make a Dale Gribble, where like you campaign for office while doing your day job, and then you spout conspiracy
yeah.
theories and talk
That's a
radio
good. That's a
between
good.
destinations.
Yeah, do a voice to text thing so you can just make up your own conspiracy theories by typing them in and then a voice to yeah or text to voice. Um, Before we move into the visual section, just to kind of close out gameplay, did you know this was going to be Shin Megami Tensei Trauma Center Under the Knife?
I mean, I think at this point, almost anything Atlas is Shin Megami Tensei looking.
I meant more difficulty wise.
Oh well,
Just like yeah,
no, I did not.
understanding.
I did not think it would got that hard.
Yeah, because it
Um,
gets brutal pretty early on.
I mean, like we could play it back Cooking Mama, where it was just like, oh man, some of those actions. But I feel like you once you've kind of figured out the trick, it was fine. This like you can't really figure out a trick because Operation
Hmm.
changes just enough where you kind of can't rely on the same thing. There are tricks like I learned that like once I'm about to like close up the last wound in an area, I should pump this dude up as far as I can get because I don't know what's going to happen next. If he's at 10, I might be
Yep.
fucked. So
Yep.
let's get him to 99 or whatever.
Well, as
Oh,
high as
yeah,
it can
yep.
go. Yeah,
And then
until
we'll
the number stops climbing.
then we'll see what happens next. And if his operation is successful, sure, I'll take it. But if not, well, at least I'm as ready as I
I'm
can be.
prepared. I'm at least healed. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good skill or a good lesson to learn as quickly as you can. Um, Other than that, I mean, the only thing that worked for me was trial and error. A lot of error
Yeah.
and a lot of trial. But it's tough because again, it asks a lot of you, and I do think because of the nature of some of these puzzles that come into play, what makes the game so tough is really the readability of the screen. You just can't assess at certain times what exactly should I be doing? What is the best course of action right now? Because even two of the same types of guilt attacking a patient, in this chapter versus this chapter, your approach, while similar, needs to be different. You need to focus on this element in this one and this element in that one. It makes a difference. Um, you mentioned the look of it looking like an Atlas game. Uh, yeah, they definitely had at the time, still to an extent, have a house style, although they've had some members of their team change over the years. But what did you think of the overall? Whoops, think I just deleted my note. What did you think of your of the characters, the design in the game?
Oh, that was fine. I mean, very like anime looking. Like if you were to remove some of like the like obvious hospital stuff and then some of the obvious Ace Attorney courtroom stuff, if you put them next to each other, I don't think I would tell a difference between characters if I didn't know the game.
Yeah, it's very very similar style.
Um, so, but yeah, but if you are more aware of Ace Attorney, this game kind of looks like that, presented like that, with the characters sliding in from the sides, interacting. Um, and then yeah,
Yep.
like the operations themselves, like you said, the screen can definitely get busy. They try to keep that UI as clean as you can because it keeps the tools. I think it's four on each side with the eight. I think it's eight combined. Four on each side. And then like you said, the top part is usually like your nurse. I think your name is Angie, if I'm not mistaken.
Angie, yeah.
Um, she's usually up there, and then sometimes like you won't be able to operate because she's talking, and that's one of the only like. Well, there's a couple things I don't like about this game, but that's one thing that annoyed the hell out of me. There wouldn't be like a tap to continue. It would just expect you to be able to read as fast as it wanted you to, and then the clock keeps ticking without kind of like notifying you. If it just had like a tap to continue kind of thing, I would have been just fine. This also would have been a great
Yeah,
like
there's
let me take a second to breathe here, but
yeah, some of them they'll like they pause the action. There's the little like call you've got to hit
mm-hmm.
to like continue on, but yeah, you really got to like read go read go read go.
But like you
And
have
then
to
the
hit
other side,
call. But that's my problem. That like you have to hit call, and then it's expected that you're just ready because it doesn't tell you to like continue. It's just
yeah, 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 you're in
go.
it. Yeah, and you can't like the other thing too is like it forces you on a replay. The one thing I didn't love is for how much this game you will need to replay missions. Some of the stuff that is there's certain things like I noticed if you restart a mission, there are certain parts of the story that get chopped off that you don't need to sit back through again. They'll kind of drop you in, but there are things where like if it's a story based mission where you're introduced to a new gameplay concept for the first time, you're gonna be reintroduced to that gameplay concept each time. Even though you've got that, it's just a matter of like, I know, I just gotta get into it. And any of those moments where like the story will stop the action to interrupt by teaching you something or trying to teach you something, there's no easy way to skip that. You have to physically move from the action you're doing up to the top right of that bottom screen to hit call to advance that text. Like it's just things like that that hold it up from like a pacing perspective. Um, but overall, that's like nitpicky. Yeah, I don't know. Overall, I think that like for as different as this is compared to some other Atlas games, this does feel and look like an Atlas game in the interface and the way you interact with characters, the way the game saves, the overworld map is straight out of old SMT games. As is I mean even just like the menus and stuff. It looks very much like an Atlas game. Um the one thing in terms of like readability, we bring that up occasionally when we talk about like how easy it especially in this where time is of the essence to read the screen, know what you need to do and be able to react to it. The one for me that was tough was some of the wounds that could be gelled instead of stitched, and sort of like how quickly you could figure out which ones can I just gel, which ones do I need to stitch. I guess the answer should be like always gel first and then
Always be
stitch
gelling.
if necessary. Yeah, always be gel. Um, I don't know, but yeah, were there any other moments for you that you felt like you were like, I misread that?
First time it wants you to close the forceps or use the forceps to close a wound. Let me say it like that. There's like one, and it like the way it's drawn, it makes it feel like it should just be stitched, and
Mm-hmm.
it you have to close it with the forcep, and that happens a couple times, especially what like you said when you're in the thick of it and you see blood everywhere. Like,
Yeah, and there's a couple of those too, where like if the angle is just the right angle, it looks like that. I probably don't need to. No, I need to force that. It can be tricky. And how about the guilt design? We get a good variety of, I think some of the like medical stuff that comes up, like I don't know what an actual tumor looks like when you extract it, so I don't know how accurate it is to the real world. But the guilt stuff, the way those are designed, they're a little, you know, they're cartoonish in the sense that like, I mean, hey, I don't know, who knows what fun parasites await us in the future, but um, yeah, with that stuff, like. I think they were each unique enough, and I think the experience of like interacting with each of them was unique enough. Um, yeah. What did you think of the guilt?
Yeah, I thought they look cool. I mean, like again, like cartoony, like because it has to kind of fit the aesthetic here a little bit, but like they're also just like creepy and insecty enough to kind of give you like the weird like itchy feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, that's what's going on here.
Yeah. Do I
Yeah,
have one of those in me?
yeah.
Is one of those running around in my
And it
intestines?
just makes you start thinking you're feeling things you're not all of a sudden on your feet or whatever.
Yeah.
They kind of give that that look to it.
Moving into sound, Doctor, are you satisfied with the amount of voice acting in the game?
Sorry, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
expect much.
really stuff like that. It's just little call outs. It's a lot of text that you're reading, which for this, what it is, I don't need much more than that. How about the music? What did you think of the music in the game?
Again, I thought it was fine. I thought it was appropriate when needed. I can't think of any tunes off my head, but I also
Oh
didn't know.
man, are you kidding? I got them both looping. The overworld theme, the
I
like,
think it's just because it's been a while. Maybe it's just because it's been a while since I last touched it. But
yeah, and then the surgery theme, the like intensity of that, just like, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, they're good. There's another song I wrote down, and I could not find it. I was trying to like listen to it outside of this, but nothing like clicked. But um, it is right at the start of chapter 3-1 when you get to Caduceus for the first time. The music there is so good. Um, yeah. Um, yeah, and then I guess move into our final section here, the reviewers' thoughts, final moments. What did you like about Under the Knife?
I think I like the visual novel parts of it.
Hmm.
I really didn't expect much of a story coming out of it, and I did not make it through this entire game. The difficulty and time just kind of it kind of got to me.
It's
Um,
brutal, dude.
but like I like what I was kind of like starting to see the merits of, and then kind of like in do my due diligence for the episode, kind of seeing the payoff for it. I thought would have been wild to see in the game. Uh, so yeah, I really like the visual novel part of it. I think the procedure part of it is cool. I think there's a bunch of different ways they use 8 tools and make it feel different and unique and keeps it fresh for the most part. So like I it does that part quite well. I think its one detriment is like it stops holding your hand quickly, and I think it expects too much of you too soon. Not to say that you can't keep redoing the same mission, but like you said, if you're having to re-see that same cutscene over and over and over again, that gets a little tiring.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's like, and if you, it's just one of those games where if you don't do a type of like, not necessarily the whole procedure, but like if you forget the steps of removing a tumor, the game's going to say, hey, take out this guilt type strain as if you're removing a tumor, and it's a very expected you remember the 5 steps to remove a tumor, and they're not going to go over
Yep.
them again. So like it's a lot
Yep.
of memorization of doing that. And then like if you keep failing that, there's no good avenue. I think that's probably where the difficulty is. There's no good avenue to revisit that without going back and like reading like a guide or a tips or something that is outside of what the game's kind of giving you. Unless you go back and replay the first missions, which I think you can in the from the main menu is the I forget what they call it. It's like a mission
Oh,
list
like
thing. Isn't it like a
okay,
time
yeah,
attack
I
thing or
didn't.
whatever? I thought it was in the main
That
menu.
sounds right.
Um,
I don't. I mostly left my DS like in sleep mode and just would jump back. Like
oh,
as long
okay.
as I've been playing,
I'm
like I never went
I
back to the.
I could have swore there was something to go back through.
I bet there is. I just never like. Usually, I would hit a point where I was looping retry over and over and over again, and then I would just like, okay, close this, come back to it when I'm ready, and just pop it open.
Now you got me second guessing
But
myself.
yeah. Um, no, I liked it. I liked learning more about the accuracies of the medical field. Um,
Oh, one. Speaking about accuracies in the medical field, I didn't realize that doctors told one another like instead of doing like perfect or great or okay, it was cool.
cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Cool.
goes. It's a rating from bad, good to cool. Those are the three health performance evaluations.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Double check with your doctor next time you're in there. Like, hey, how did you? How do you think you did today? Because I think you did bad.
Yes,
Do
can
you think you did
confirm.
cool?
Sorry, it is challenge. Is a challenge mode from the main menu.
Okay, and just lets you replay
The missions you've
individual
done.
chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Which is good. Yeah, I mean, but it's tedious to have to go back and do that. Where like it'd be nice to have a quick reference guide of like the tumor. What do I do? I do think if you screw up enough, depending on the mission, I don't think it happens on every mission. If you grab the wrong tool, Angie will scream like, "You don't need suction. You need the magnifying glass," or something like that. But yeah.
No, but there was one where she kept saying like healing touch, use your hand, and I didn't realize I had to double tap the hand
So
because
yeah,
I
I
had been
completely forgot. I was
forever
like,
since I'd done it. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I think like for me the big takeaway is like there are moments later on where I think in a game like this, it can feel any game that's difficult, it can feel like I'm not good enough to beat this. And I think in this game in particular, it's less skill and more a combination of luck and skill. Like you kind of need both. I put that in my review. Like I think you need luck, I think you need skill, and I think you need patience to get through this because it will try your patience. The thing I do like about it though is that I mentioned you can close the DS. So it's very easy to like pick this up, try another round of uh okay, I'm gonna try and save this patient. Okay, didn't work. I gotta go. I gotta do something else now. Close it. Come back to it. Like you can pick it up. Like there's been sessions where I've played for 5 minutes. There's been sessions where I've played for 2 hours, and I think the game lends itself to that, depending on what you're in the mood for. And I think that that works well. What would you hope for in a sequel? Whether, yeah, like another DS version of this. There, I mean, there is. There's Under the
Mm.
Knife 2. If
I
that shows up on the list next year, what are you hoping for?
go with. I don't. I kind of. Well, I guess I would want like a proper sequel to the story because I'm sure knowing how this kind of wraps up, I think there's room for some opportunity. I think throwing another tool or two just to keep the gameplay fresh. Because this one, it kept the gameplay fresh by just introducing new types of procedures and guilt. I don't know how much you can go to the well there. And like I said, I don't necessarily need the game to be easier. I just need it to be more approachable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need it to be a little more forgiving with certain things.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
that's yeah, I guess the approachable thing.
yeah, 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 yeah. But like in terms of what it's asking of you, I think that's okay. It's just sort of like, come on, dude. Any of those moments.
Almost like
Um,
I almost want like I would love like a Catherine full body thing where like I can pause and bring up the skill list just as a
mhm.
reminder of how to
Just a
like
reference.
Like, don't penalize me because it's been 5 days since I've played, and then maybe 3 weeks since I've done a procedure because of the pace I'm playing it at, and I completely forgot how to do something.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
having that, I think, would have been nice. From what I played.
Um, do you think that this translates better or worse to the Wii?
I mean, I haven't played the Wii version, so I
No, I
couldn't.
mean I'm just imagining, like,
I I'm gonna go. I, I think I'd rather stay on the DS. I know I said about like it feels like sometimes my touches didn't register the right way, but I only can imagine that on a sensor bar.
yeah, I don't know how that'll go. Um, I'm not sure. I did see like the second one, Trauma Team, apparently goes outside of just the surgery room. So there's other like things you do. So it expands on just using the Wii remote for surgery.
Are you
And
dialing the insurances? Hello, can I get
I
this
think
patient's
so.
covered?
Apparently, you play as a detective at some point. You have to investigate crime scene. It gets yeah,
LA Noir, any?
kind of The Wii was a console, man. I tell you what. Why do you think Atlas has not returned to this in some time? It's been years.
I just don't know how you do it, because, I mean, yes, you could technically do it on a Switch because it has a touchscreen. I understand that. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
styluses out there, and I think this is a very stylus-heavy game. I couldn't imagine playing this with my finger.
No. I mean, you could do this on Switch with the Joy-Con for motion control, but yeah, you'd still have to make it playable with a controller, and I just don't think you can. I think you lose so much out of it. I don't think it'd work. They could do a PC release. They could do a VR release, but who's who's buying VR, man? Um, I like it though. I will play Under the Knife 2. I will play the ones on Wii at some point. Maybe even on the podcast. Who knows? Stay tuned for season 15. Um, but until then, go check out Trauma Center Under the Knife on the Nintendo DS. We're going to rank this video game over on the freecheese.com/the list. If you're watching the video version, it's on the screen for you. You can follow along at
I'll refresh
home.
just in case.
Uh, Last week we put Atlas's Catherine, not last week, 2 weeks ago. We put Atlas's Catherine at number 28. I don't have Trauma Center as high as Catherine. Uh, you want to go first? What number you got?
All right, I'll go first. Let me zoom in just a little bit, just in case. All right. I enjoy this game. It has its problems, but I think I do enjoy like this is on a platform that I think you can only really pull it off besides, I guess, the Wii with some concessions. So this
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
makes a unique game, which is a unique experience, which again, the game has problems, but is unique and somewhat alright. I'm looking at you. What's at the bottom of this list? Lifeline. If you're unique, but
Right.
but somewhat competent in what you're doing, I forgive that. But at the end of the day, I think the approachability is gonna make some people go away from it, like it did for me. And I'm not in a rush to get my medical degree, so I didn't stick around for too long. With that being said, I had this as the new 150 between James
Hmm.
Bond 007, whoops, Agent Under Fire, and Blood Rain.
Interesting. So for me, I spotted something a little bit higher than James Bond and said, "Oh, Trauma Center's better than that." And that is The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. Um, I was like, "This is better than the Minish Cap." And then I kept climbing a bit, and I was like, "I think I like this more than I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream." I think it's stronger than that, and I almost stopped kind of like around there. And then I was like, I could make an argument for a couple of these. And then I just kept kind of like looking up the list to see like, is there another one I would jump past? And the answer is yes. Blood. I like this better than Blood, but I don't like it more than Jumping Flash. So for me, it stopped at 94,
Okay.
which is quite the discrepancy. We're 60 places just about different.
All right.
Pull me down. What do you got for me?
Well, for everything you said, I think I found its equal um, counterpoint. So like I look at things like Snatcher. I don't think there's any world where I think this game is better than Snatcher.
Where's
Um,
Snatcher?
huh? Snatcher
Where's Snatcher?
is 109 on the website.
I see, I see. Dang, yeah, we got that low. Well,
Um,
comparatively. Yeah, and I'm with you. Like Super Mario Kart, Windjammers, not Windjammers. I'm looking at Windjammers, but yeah, Snatcher, D2. D2 was a tough one to jump past for me as well.
yeah, I saw D2. Like I kind of started. I'm not gonna say I started in the 30s and worked my way down, but I think the first game I saw was like, all right, I think we're getting close, but I just kind of kept dropping. For me, it was Resident Evil 6. I saw Resident Evil 6, and I was like, all right, hold on.
Mm.
Like I think Resident Evil 6 is the better game, but we're starting to get into the land. Then I saw Mass Effect 2, and I kind of kept going down. And then, like I said, I saw Snatcher, and I wouldn't forgive myself. I kind of got to the. That's what it was. I got to Zombies Ate My Neighbors because I was thinking like that difficulty thing. And then that's
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
got down far enough in the list. I saw Snatcher. I was like, all right, nah, I gotta keep going, keep going. And I kind of was like, no, like for as much as it gets like middling in this area, where I think the trauma center is like in that thing. I think maybe just preference came into play. Like I think Anthem's a better game. I think Metal Gear Acid's a weird game that's better than this.
I do too. Yeah.
Um,
I had a tough time jumping over Metal Gear Acid
I, I think
and Anthem.
I think Game Dev Story is better than this.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I like Obscure better than this.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. And then I kind of got down. I saw ESPN NFL football. I was like, well, obviously, like that's better than this. And then I saw Devil's Crush, and I was like, well, that's better than this. um,
Man, Devil's Crush is better than Trauma Center.
and then I just kind of, and then the floor was Cooking Mama. I got the Cooking Mama. I was like, all right, found the direct comparison, and this is better than that.
Yeah, and it's better than yeah.
Not to drop you all the way down, but that like I just kind of kept falling because I kept seeing some of these centerpieces, and it wasn't like it was only Devil's Crush. I would see like a Tasmania. I was like, Tasmania is weird, but like I kind of like it. Like I think I like Zuma better as like a sit down casual game. I think you. I mean, I think on the fence, but I think you would like Disaster Report 4. I saw
Oh yeah.
Pac-Man. I was like, in what world? I don't know. I know Pac-Man's in a weird spot. I think on his list, but I think Pac-Man is a better game than Trauma Center. And that, I guess kind of
Yeah.
how I just kept falling. I kept saying very similar things all the way down.
Pac-Man is so low on
I know,
this
I
list.
know, I know, but
Pac-Man and the Darkness. Just in case if you've not seen the list before, in the bottom third of this list, Disaster Report 4 is better than Pac-Man, which is only just better than the Darkness. In case you're wondering how we
but
rank
not better
things
than
here.
Zuma Deluxe.
Not better than Zuma Deluxe. Or Psyops the Mind Gate Conspiracy is better than Pac-Man. What did we do? All right.
Well, that's every week, dude.
No, I'll concede because I don't have a good argument to put it, especially now that I know where Pac-Man is. Pac-Man's probably better than Trauma Center. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Right above Blood Rain, below James Bond.
I mean, I'm willing to come up some. I just wanted to like You kept saying games, and I'm like, well, I think I see an equal
No, I
amount
know,
of
I know.
games going the other way that you're gonna agree with me with here.
If we go up, I do think my ceiling is like is Anthem. So somewhere in between 117 and 150. Quite a drop, but uh you know what? I think this is better than Gravity Rush.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made there. Like I think it's better than kind of that block.
But maybe Obscure is my ceiling above Gravity Rush because I think Obscure is better than I don't know.
And is where
Maybe Obscure,
I mean the
maybe that's
list is
it.
just weird.
Maybe Game Dev Story is the top.
And it's better than
How's
obscure.
that feel? Yeah. This is above Obscure but below Game Dev Story.
That's fine. We'll meet in the
Does that
middle.
work?
That's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, this is why we get Pac-Man at 146. Uh Trauma Center, Under the Knife, the new 131. Stay tuned for episode 700 where we go, why is Trauma Center
Yeah, it's gonna
so
be why is
low on this
Pac-Man
list?
540?
True.
Oh, just episode 700. Yeah,
Still.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Trauma Center. Good times. I dig it. You can dig it too. You can also come back next week and dig the future of video games with Batman Begins. DC stopped making new video games, so we're playing the old ones because we got nothing else we can play. There's no DC rivals out there waiting for us. There's no DC Cosmic Invasion. It ain't happening. I would love it.
DC's
Love it.
Green Lantern. DC's. What else? What else is out there? What else is Marvel doing that DC can do? Well, hey, hey. Not to put current events in this episode, but Blaze in trouble, so.
Well, we don't know for sure. Maybe by the time you're hearing this, you might know more, but nothing confirmed yet. I know, but I know. This is just one Marvel thing. They still have all of the other stuff that's come out. I would settle, for the record, you could buy me a year's time of not complaining, probably. For just like the one that came out earlier this year, the Marvel Maximum Collection, or whatever it was, from Limited Run, where they took a bunch of old ROMs, like they did like Spider-Man, Maximum Carnage, and Separation Anxiety, and a couple of the. Throw a compilation together with a bunch of old DC beat 'em ups. Give me the Batman animated series stuff, Batman for the Nintendo Entertainment. Just a couple of those. I'll shut up. I promise. For a little bit. But just got nothing, dude. Nothing. There's hope. Phil Lamar told us there's an Injustice 3. But anyway, Batman Begins next week. Coming to you on the podcast and the list. Until then, thank you all for hanging out with us. Thank you, Matt. We'll see you next time. Bye.